What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Birds of the Round Table. Happy playoff week, Eagles fam. Today we are breaking down everything you need to know between the Eagles and the Giants. Joining me, my man Shane over there at half and half underscore TPL. What is up, Shane?
What's up, Dives? It felt good to watch a lot of good playoff football and just not be stressed out about any of it this weekend. So I am stress-free right now for about 2 more days.
We got a lot to talk about. Joining me, as always, of course, Ryan Reese of Philly Sports Alliance. What's up, Ryan?
What is going on? I cannot wait for Saturday. Cannot get here quick enough. I am already. I have everything literally laid out in my living room for tailgating on Saturday. So ready to go. I'm going to be down there representing. Let's go.
Love it. And then we've got Mitch Kofsky of Hardcore Sports. What's up, Mitch?
What is up? I can't wait for Saturday. Our kicker won't miss 4 extra points. I'm telling you that right now. How did that happen?
No. Before we get into it, though, guys, if you're watching us live, smash that like button, subscribe, comment, all the above, wherever you're watching. We're streaming live on Philly Sports Alliance, Edge of Philly Sports, the Painted Lines. We've been doing a thing where the host has to, if the host loses, we keep hosting continuous shows, but things kind of got thrown up in the air with the bye week and different things like that. So that being said, let's see who hosts tonight's show. A lot of us here host several different shows, so hosting is not as always. Oh, yes. All right, let's go. All right, so what we're gonna do here, Shane, you can play that thing. We're going to talk about top takeaways between the the Giants and the Vikings, what it all meant for the Birds, and we're also going to be watching Eagles versus Giants, Madden 23, just to kind of react to that as well. I'll throw it to you, Shane. What was your top takeaway between the Giants and the Vikings?
This isn't the same Giants team that the Eagles blew out in Week 14. Was I muted? You pointed. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I agree. I fully agree.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I forget to unmute myself. I'm not in full playoff form. I'm still knocking off the rust from the bye, but it's not the same team. The Giants were never supposed to be here, right? Their roster's bad. This was supposed to be the rebuild year, and not only are they in the playoffs, they've won a playoff game. And yeah, Eagles fans will say, we blew you out in Week 14, but it's simply not the same team. They've got 3 guys back from injury that they just didn't have when the Eagles met up in Week 14. Adoree Jackson, Xavier McKinney, Leonard Williams are all guys that didn't play in Week 14, and they played a really good game. Daniel Jones played the best game of his career. Now, granted, it was against the 25th ranked EPA defense per dropback and the 27th defensive DVOA team, and so the only reason that really gets a lot of airtime is because it was a playoff game. Like if he did this to the Vikings 2 weeks ago, nobody would have cared. But it is the playoffs, and anything can happen in the playoffs. And you look at I just think there's some problematic matchups. We'll get into it with the Eagles and stuff here. There's some problematic matchups, but the biggest thing for me is that this Giants team has more talent. It's not the meme that people want to make it out to be. Their receiver room, it sounds like a meme, like Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James. Who are these guys? Isaiah Hodgins was signed off the Bills practice squad in November, and he has 100 yards in this game. But I thought they played very impressive on the offensive side of the ball, granted against a weak defense. And I thought they did a pretty good job defensively. Justin Jefferson only had 1 catch for 4 yards in the second half, and he destroyed them when they played earlier in the season. So the Giants are adapting. They're pushing the right buttons, as Dibes is not pushing the right buttons.
Say that.
Another thing that really stuck out to me, and then I'll stop talking and let somebody else talk, but the Giants have been such a blitz-happy team, right? They only blitzed against the Vikings on 23% of their snaps. They played a ton of zone coverage, and that's not something we've seen from Wink Martindale before, longtime defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. He's always been a cover 1, cover 0 blitz man guy, and he's evolving here. And so I don't know what you're going to see. I have a sneaking suspicion what we're going to see against the Eagles, but I'll save that and we'll get into it here in a bit.
Well said. Well said. Some comments real quick. Roland says we also have two coming back. Gardner Johnson and Goddard didn't play them the first time around. We've got King James in the house checking in. Go Birds, baby. Throw it to you, Mitch. What's your main takeaway between the Giants and the Vikings before we break down Eagles versus Giants?
Why would Kirk Cousins throw a check down on fourth down? That's my question. But on a serious note, Giants have fought hard. They have always caught up. They were always a team from behind and to play in the trenches and just come away with the victory. So I got to give kudos to that. Their coaching staff, pretty much one of the best coaching staffs in the league. Daboll up there for Coach of the Year. Not my pick though, but yeah, they're a good team. We cannot take them lightly at all. And yeah, Hodges is very underrated now. Underrated. I love that kid.
He's been making plays the second half of the season everywhere, man.
Yeah, he is.
King James says the Giants can't blitz if we keep sending the giant killer in, the Boston Scott. Love that comment. Frank says, you think the Eagles are going to showcase Dallas Goedert? Seems like he's been MIA since his return from injury. We'll get into that. We're going to get into that, Frank, very soon. Ryan Reese, what's your take?
Yeah, I agree with what Mitch said. Is we can't take these Giants lightly. I know we've literally played them twice in the past, 5 or 6 weeks, but they've been a team that has, evolved and been through their up and downs through this season. Their offense was absolutely clicking last week, and Daniel Jones, listen, we all make kind of funny, fun of Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. And, listen, he had probably his best game in his career against the Vikings. He was accurate. He was, precise, going through his reads. He was taking off when he needed to. I mean, he had 70-plus yards rushing in the first half. The Vikings defense, seemingly didn't know what was going on. And yeah, their receivers are kind of sneaky good. We may not have ever heard of them, but we'll probably be hearing their name quite a bit. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is those players that weren't there that first time around. You mentioned them on the Giants side. I know somebody just commented, with the Eagles that were missing. So, again, hopefully the Eagles can have a full squad. I think the only player that is kind of up in the air right now, which is probably trending towards not playing, is Avonte Maddox. But yeah, the Giants looked good. It was while I was rooting for the Giants to win, sadly, but yeah, in the back of my head, I was like, okay, well, this is going to have to be a game. This is going to have to be a mistake-free game from Jalen Hurts and the Eagles' offense for sure.
Absolutely. Quentin says, I like the Giants' offensive play calls, especially the misdirection plays. They're a fun team to watch. I'm going to get into my take is when you watch a Brian Daboll offense, that team, the misdirections, the pre-snap movements, the behind-the-back handoffs, everyone flying different directions. That was a lot of fun. I didn't watch a lot of Giants games this year, but watching them kind of handle the Vikings offensively was really, really fun. And kind of just to echo your sentiments, Ryan, thanks for the comment, Quentin. Daniel Jones, man, that guy played really well. He led the Giants in rushing 78 yards. He had over 300 passing yards, carried the ball 17 times, many of those in big moments, big spots. And I'm not a Daniel Jones guy, but wow, man, he really showed me something. There was one play where he escaped out of the pocket, got his feet around, threw a dart down the sideline. It was a great throw. It was a great catch. This Giants offense has really evolved over the last second half of the season from a run first, pass second, pass first, run second kind of offense, heavy RPOs, like you said, tons of misdirection, zone read option runs, run pass options. This is an offense that utilizes Daniel Jones's mobility, and he had Minnesota on the back of their heels pretty much all game long. It was a very impressive win via Daniel Jones's mobility. And that's important to note. It's important to note because the Eagles allowed the 4th most rushing yards to quarterbacks this year. So we're going to be talking about that. We saw that. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is Justin Fields, but quarterbacks that get the ball out fast and can kind of improvise and have coaches put them in good positions to make plays on 3rd and longs or 3rd and shorts, things like that. The Eagles have kind of struggled with that, although they did hold Daniel Jones to just 20 yards on the ground in week 14. But like Joe says here, the Eagles have to take the Giants seriously. We're going to break down offense and defense here momentarily, but that's the take. I was just wildly impressed by the New York Giants.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling to have, but yeah, I came away the same. I was shocked that again, I've obviously seen them play throughout the year, and they were winning games that maybe they shouldn't have, but they don't certainly have the talent level. But their coaching staff has certainly coached them up. Dable seems to have be the right fit there, and obviously, the defensive coordinator is doing a great job as well. And that seems to be the Giants' kind of MO when they've been successful is to have that nice head coach and good defensive coordinator and rely on their defense to be the main stable of the team. And that kind of seems to be the case. And, whether or not they end up, advancing any further this year, there's certainly going to be a team now that we got to worry about for sure for the foreseeable future.
Nope. All right. Let's roll on to Eagles offense versus Giants defense as I'm choking on some candy here. Shane, lead us off, man. What's the biggest matchup you're watching between the Eagles offense and Giants defense?
It's got to be Dexter Lawrence on the interior of the defensive line against the Eagles' interior offensive line. Dexter Lawrence had 8 pressures against Kirk Cousins, just manhandled Garrett Bradbury all game. It was the most pressures by a defensive tackle in a playoff game in the Next Gen Stats era. I think it was Next Gen Stats also tweeted out that he has 29 pressures from the nose tackle position this season, which leads the NFL.
Dang.
Second place has 8. He has 21 more pressures than the next closest guy from nose tackle. So he's going to be lining up heads up on Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce is an athletic guy. Jason Kelce is an undersized guy. He's the exact type of player that Jason Kelce has had problems with in the past. And so you look at the Giants defense, they do things schematically that are problematic for the Eagles. From lining Dexter Lawrence up on Jason Kelce to being a blitz-happy team. Jalen Hurts and the offense have struggled against the blitz this year. And yeah, it's gotten a little better as the season's gone along, but they're not the high-flying offense that we're used to when they're under heavy pressure. So for me, that's the biggest thing. Now, they've scaled that back. Weeks 1 through 14, they played man coverage on 43% of their snaps, and they blitzed on 40% of their snaps. Week 15 through 18, that dropped to 30% man, 35% blitz. Against Minnesota, I mentioned they only blitzed 23% of the snaps, and they played a ton of zone coverage. They bracketed Justin Jefferson. I don't know how they're going to approach playing the Eagles. As comes up maybe here in isolation. That's terrible. But
why?
I kind of feel like they're going to get back to that man heavy approach, because with the Vikings you can play zone and you can bracket Justin Jefferson because he's all they have. But who are you bracketing if you're picking against the Eagles? I don't think they're going to take that approach, and if they do, I think Dallas Goedert's going to kill them because you can't play zone coverage with linebackers that bad against Dallas Goedert. So I think you're going to see a blitz-heavy script. I think the idea is going to be, let's go hit Jalen Hurts. Let's try to get him off his game. Let's see how healthy he is. Let's see how healthy Lane Johnson is. And so big question marks in terms of health for the Eagles offense right now at 2 key positions, and I'd be trying to test that early.
Yep. Quentin says, do the Giants have the edge in terms of coaching? I think this is a really interesting matchup where it's strength versus strength, not only on the field but off the field. You've got Sirianni versus Dable. Then you've got kind of their strength, I think, of the Giants is their defensive line and ability to get pressure. And then you've got the Eagles' offensive line which has been so dominant. I
Brian-
think they negate each other. Just
Brian Dable is a better offensive play caller than Shane Steichen. That's
Yeah.
why he's a head coach now. Wink Martindale is not a better defensive coordinator than Jonathan Gannon.
A lot of Eagles fans tend to disagree on that.
Wow.
wow, I don't know.
I don't pay attention to Twitter. I'm just saying.
Clearly.
All right, Mitch. What is a matchup you're watching here? Do you agree or disagree with Shane, or do you have another thing between the Eagles' offense and the Giants' defense?
Honestly, I gotta go to the wide receiver. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith against their corners. Yes, they shut down Justin Jefferson, but can they do that to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith? I don't know. If you cover AJ, Devontae Smith. If you cover Devontae, AJ Brown. I mean, we have two number ones. They have one, so it's kind of hard for them to focus. So for me, it's wide receivers. And then you could throw Dallas Goedert in there too for the tight end spot.
Love it. Yeah. Mr. Rudy Poo agrees, should pick on the Giants linebackers.
Yes.
Absolutely agree. What about you, Ryan Reese?
Yeah, just not to reiterate, I'll pick something different, but I'm going to be interested in seeing the run game, and how Miles Sanders is able to get into that second level. Obviously this run game is so much more efficient when we have a fully healthy line. So again, I think from off of what Shane said, how healthy is this team right now? We have some players that are a little banged up. That can change in a heartbeat in one of these games. As somebody tweaks something and whatnot. But I want to see Miles Sanders kind of respond. He kind of hasn't had the best couple of games, last couple of games. So I really want to see them establish that run. And really kind of pound the rock and really kind of open up that passing game for later on in the game for the Eagles to hopefully score at will with AJ Brown, Goddard, and Smith.
Yeah, you guys kind of knocked out all three of my matchups. Miles Sanders versus that Giants run defense. Giants struggled against the run this season. You look at A.J. Brown, like Mitch said. A.J. Brown has 8 receptions for 165 yards against the Giants this year. That's over 20 yards a reception. I think the big narrative for the Eagles offense against the Giants has been big plays. They've had crazy amount of big plays in the two games. I know the two games are not alike whatsoever, but they have been able to move the ball through the air very successfully. And then you get to, like Shane said, the pass rush. Dexter Lawrence, just a monster. But you got Kayvon Thibodeau, who's been kind of tearing it up lately. He's got 11 quarterback hits the last 7 games. Ojulari is day-to-day with a quad injury. But I agree, Shane. I think they want to pressure Jalen Hurts, get into his face. They're going to crowd the line of scrimmage. They do that a lot, and that's led to a lot of penalties as well. I think they lead the league in defensive holding flags. You can check that out, Shane. But I think that's what they're going to want to do. I think we're going to see a heavy passing attack from the Eagles. And, of course, the biggest takeaway has to be Jalen Hurts, man. Like, you talk about a guy on the national stage. You look back at last year's matchup against Tampa Bay, and he struggled against pressure, man. And this is a team, although, like Shane said, they didn't blitz a lot in the wild card round. They're the heaviest blitzing team during the regular season. So can Jalen Hurts answer those questions? I think he will exponentially, but that's definitely something to watch. Mr. Rudy Poo says, Sweat, BG, Quinn, Reddick, got to get pressure, but don't let Daniel Jones get outside the tackles. He is sneaky fast. Absolutely. King James says Jalen Hurts fake an injury. Finish the season and give Hurts rest for the playoffs. Corey says, I love getting no respect. Truth is, the last time the Eagles played fully and mostly healthy was the Chicago game. Let them count us out. No one likes to give us shit, or no one likes us who gives a shit. Go Birds.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, the Eagles are like 7.5-point favorites, so I don't think anybody's disrespecting the Eagles here. But do you want to hear a conspiracy theory that I would put out there, but I'm not sure if I believe, but I'm not saying I don't believe it?
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to take this trip back with me. Think back to like the Doug Peterson era, okay? When a player got injured, what was the label that Doug put on every injury ever? Their day-to-day, right? Which we always took to mean they're going to be out 6 to 8 weeks because that's just how it played out. But we never had any idea what was going on with injuries, right? You move forward to last year and all of this season. When have you ever heard Nick Sirianni or the Eagles openly talk about a player's injury? They just don't. Like, you get no information. And now all of a sudden Jalen Hurts gets injured, and you've got Jalen Hurts saying, it's a good thing there's a bye week this week because he's not feeling great. And Sirianni immediately after the Week 18 game is like, man, he was hurting really bad and all this stuff. Now, I'm just saying that, like, Jalen Hurts got hurt. They wouldn't have taken him out of games if he didn't. I'm just wondering if there could be some gamesmanship going on and playing up how bad this injury is. And it's really mostly fine now. I don't know. All I know is the Eagles have been tremendously tight-lipped about injuries, and it really doesn't make any sense to me that now the most important player on your team is hurt, and all of a sudden everybody wants to talk about it to the press. It doesn't make any sense to me. So there's just a little piece of me in the back of my head that's like, is this some sort of like big brain 3D chess play, some gamesmanship going on here by Sirianni and Hurts?
Yeah, I just saw that he officially went through walkthrough and wasn't listed on the injury report officially, whatever that means, as to add to your point. So, I highly doubt he faked anything, and they're just. But I think, they probably made it seem a lot worse than it was.
Some comments. Rudy Poo says, watching all these wild card games, not a lot of flags being thrown for holding calls, even though they're happening like crazy. NFL agenda, maybe. Ryan P says, don't want to overlook anyone, but I feel like this is essentially Eagles versus Eagles. If we were at full health and don't make huge mistakes, I like our chances. Absolutely. It's an interesting stat I saw, Shane, was that the Eagles' offensive line is, without question, like stat-wise, the best of the best in the NFL. They actually also have the most penalties among any other offensive line in the NFL. Did you see that, Shane?
I hadn't, but I can look it up. I'm actually on a penalty database right now.
Where else would you be right now?
I was checking out your thing. So defensive holdings, the Giants have 12, which is tied for 7th in the league. The Saints lead with 18, and then there's like 15, 14, 13, 12. So they're kind of up there. I can check out false starts and holdings though.
Yeah, look up the offensive line by the Eagles because I briefly read that the other day.
The Eagles have 20 false starts. 25 is the league lead. 6 is the lowest number in the league.
Oh, wow.
So the Eagles are definitely up there. On offensive holding, the Eagles are more middle of the pack. They've got 16. 23 leads the league. So
where are the Giants in all this? Because I think like the calling card for the Giants offense is they don't make mistakes.
The Giants have the second least number of offensive holdings with 10.
Wow.
9 is the least. And on false starts, they're about middle of the pack. They're at 19.
Okay. Sounds good. Some more comments real quick. Mr. Rudy Poo says it's crazy that Hurts is completely off the injury report. Absolutely agree. Roland says a mismatch I love is Hassan Reddick versus Evan Neal. We're going to get into that in just a second, Roland. Man, Hassan Reddick has been unbelievable. Ryan P says that Bears game really stands out for offensive line penalties. I don't want to go back to that one again. Mr. Rudy Poo says, watch out for illegal man downfield, man. Is that not the worst penalty in the NFL?
I mean, some of these penalties, after watching this weekend, it's like, well, like, who cares? Like, illegal man down the field. Like, who cares? Like, why is that a thing? Like, that anybody is worried about? Stop it. Take it out of the game.
Now, if they call every single holding, every single legal man downfield, do you realize that these games will be over for like 5 hours?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's holding on every play.
Yeah,
Every play.
you can't stop it every time. First quarter would take an hour.
All right, let's roll on to Eagles defense versus Giants offense. Lead us off, Brian Reese. Let's go backward. What's your top match?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got to be, the pressure from the Eagles' front four defensive line versus their offensive line. I think that has obviously been kind of our bread and butter, is getting the pressure on the opposing quarterbacks, actually getting sacks this year, as we certainly saw that come to fruition finally after years and years and years and years and years. But no, I think I forget who said it. Roland, I think earlier said it. Yeah, Hassan Reddick. That has been one of the best signings by Howie. This year for sure. And honestly, I just want to see him go off. BG Sweat will be back. Hargrave, the whole thing. I mean, again, I think if we can dominate the line of scrimmage in that way, and make Danny Dimes uncomfortable, I think this falls right into exactly what we want.
I'm just gonna go ahead and piggyback off of that. Daniel Jones versus pressure. He has an 83 quarterback rating. He has a 55.6 completion percentage. You look at Daniel Jones with a clean pocket, 97.4 QB rating, 73.6% completion percentage. This is a quarterback that among 400 plus pass attempts has the second fewest downfield throws during the regular season, and 50% of his passes from weeks 10 to 18 were short throws. So that's what the Giants offense is going to do, man. They know this pass rush, Eagles dominant pass rush is coming. He's going to get the ball out fast. And we've that's what we're going to see. What about you, Mitch? What's a matchup you're watching?
We just got to stop Vanilla Vic. That's what the Giants fans call him. I swear to God.
Wow.
I get DMs saying Vanilla Vic. Like, what? But on serious note, this Hassan Reddick, I'm telling you right now, if he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year, I mean, you could give it to Bosa and other guy, but he should be up there for that spot, and he's going to make damage in that mismatch with Evan Neal. Oh, my God, that is something. That is something right there. And maybe the cornerbacks against their wide receivers to a point. I know like Hodges and Sterling Shepard are not the best in the world, but you still got to keep an eye on them. You still got to keep an eye. Hodges can make some noise, and even Kenny Galladay scored a touchdown on us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our corners against their – and Gardner Johnson too. You cannot forget about him. The first go-around, we didn't have him. So that's going to be huge.
Yep, absolutely. Going back to this comment, and what you said, Mitch, you look at Evan Neal at right tackle. Evan Neal allowed a pressure on 15.9% of his pass blocking snaps against the Vikings. So that is definitely something to keep an eye out for. Hassan Reddick, Evan Neal. What about you, Shane? What are you watching?
Yeah, I can't believe how much Evan Neal has struggled in his rookie season. I certainly didn't expect that going back to our draft stuff, but Josh Sweat beat Andrew Thomas up and stole his lunch money when they played in Week 14. He wrecked that game, and so Andrew Thomas has been really good this year. Josh Sweat had his number Week 14, so you hope Sweat comes back good. This is a good game for the Gannon style of defense. You're gonna force what a catch there by AJ Brown. You're gonna force Daniel Jones to dink and dunk his way down the field and execute 10 to 14 play drives, convert third downs. Like, Daniel Jones is not the caliber of quarterback that you're worried about being able to do that consistently. So it's all about limiting those explosive plays. Playing quarters, you're going to have eyes on Daniel Jones when he goes to run. Obviously, the Vikings couldn't get pressure on Jones very well. The Eagles aren't going to have that problem. The Eagles are going to be able to get pressure. They're going to be able to get pressure rushing for, and they're going to be able to always have eyes on Daniel Jones. So I think what you're going to see, if I was Brian Dable, I would be running heavy personnel stuff, trying to get under center and run the football, because Gannon likes to play light defenses, and defending the run has been the problem. So to me, that's the thing. Like, the Eagles' defensive line has the mantra of you have to earn the right to rush the passer. Like, I've heard Jason Kelsey talk about that on New Heights and stuff like that, but they're going to have to stop the run. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I think he's going to play in the slot a lot. He's got to be able to come downhill and fill gaps and make tackles. You've got to get them into situations where they can't put 2 and 3 tight ends on the field and try to run the ball at you. The Giants are going to do everything they can to make you live in 5-down fronts. And then when you get in 5-down fronts, they're going to boot off of that. They're going to throw the ball because your coverage is bad out of 5-man fronts, just like it has been all year. So this game, more than any, it's imperative the Eagles can stop the run with 4 guys down. And
are you kidding me?
75-yard touchdowns.
Saquon,
like
really?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
That.
Oh, yeah. Can you make a tackle?
With a wheel route.
Tackle, but here we can't.
James Bradbury gets destroyed on a wheel route by Saquon.
James Bradbury revenge game.
Just to kind of go off what you said there, Shane. Evan Neal, week 14, on 51 snaps. He allowed 7 pressures and a sack, had a 47.4 pass blocking grade. That was the game where also Brandon Graham went off in that one, if you remember. But yeah, that's you guys pretty much nailed it. At the end of the day, it's the Eagles pass rush getting into the face of Daniel Jones with a 4-man rush, timely blitzes on third short, third and long, all that kind of stuff. We got a lot of comments here. Frank says, it seems like everyone is in fear or concerned with New York and Dallas because they both look good. I agree, but you have to remember they had to look good to get this round. The Eagles are already into this round waiting. I hope the week pays off for them. Seems like it helped Hurts and Lane Johnson. Don't forget, without Lane Johnson, the Eagles are 9-22. That's really Lane on the Philadelphia Eagles football field. I'm feeling good.
That's another huge thing, because the possibility exists that Lane thinks he's good and he goes out there and he takes a snap and he's like, I can't do this. And you're not going to know that until the game, because you're certainly not going full contact in practice. So we think Lane Johnson's going to play. He's going to at least start the game. How effective he's able to be, if he's able to stay in, that remains to be seen. And it's the same thing for Hurts. Like, are they going to let Hurts run the ball? Like, you got to think you pull those stops out, but if Hurts isn't at 100%, like, he's not going to be at 100% at any point in the playoffs, and you've got to run your offense. But when you get buried by Kayvon Thibodeau, are you getting up and are you having to come off the field? Like, there's things to be very nervous about in this game related to the health of the offense, and that's the biggest concern for me.
Yeah.
King James says Jalen Hurts is about to put on a show. He watched Joe Burrow, the Super Bowl second season of the league, said that was the standard. Hurts is going to silence all the doubters. Love the optimism, man. Mr. Rudy Poo says, hopefully we have someone other than TJ spying Daniel Jones, because he has been bad with that assignment. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting how they I want to – Shane, can you look back to week 14, how many times Daniel Jones rushed the football? Because I don't remember it was that much.
Yeah,
nothing like we saw in the
Wasn't it like 4?
I'm not sure.
I know it was not a lot.
I don't remember him going off. I mean, the Eagles blew him out. I think what they do, like, jumped into like a 21-24 nothing lead in the first half, and it was over after that. But yeah, I don't remember Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones had 4 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown. Tyrod Taylor had 2 carries for 40 yards.
Okay. Yeah. Quinn Moore says, LOL at Vanilla Vic. I agree. Stopping the quarterback runs will be the key. I believe Evan Neal is playing out of position like Andre Dillard.
Dang.
Yeah. Time of possession will be another key for the Eagles. Absolutely. Dable is going to be spamming Saquon Barkley screens to negate the rush. Absolutely. We're going to see that a lot. And you're not. Yeah. Shane, is this a game where you blitz heavily if you're Jonathan Gannon, or do you sit back and anticipate that?
No, I'm not blitzing at all. I want to make Daniel Jones go on 12 to 14 play drives because I don't think he can do it consistently. And I think my pass rush is get in there. Oh,
QB sneak.
I think that Daniel Jones is not going to execute 12 to 14 plays consistently against this team, and I don't want to give up any explosive plays. When you blitz, you're playing with fire. You're inviting chaos, and when you have the better team, it just doesn't make that much sense. You don't want to invite chaos. You want to invite stability. So this would not be a game that I'm looking at blitzing a lot.
And Mr. Rudy Poo says, I'm going to be annoyed if Gannon just sits in soft zone like the defensive coordinator for the Vikings. Oh, we'll see, man. Did the Eagles just score? Yeah. Score. Is that Dallas Goedert?
I want to say that
Alcantara?
for all the talk and complaining about soft zone coverage, the Eagles lead the NFL in sack percentage at 10.4%. They are 15th in the league in average time to sack. So everybody that wants to whine about the types of coverages they play, you almost set a record for sacks while being league average in time to sack. It has a lot more to do with the coverage than it does the pass rush.
Yeah.
And this is something Rudy Poo brings up. Like the Eagles have struggled with that historically, at least in recent times, right? Guys, watching the Vikings game, there's a lot of motion and misdirection. I mean, that being said, we don't have like trash linebackers out there like we had in years past that had no idea what to do with those misdirection plays or drop back into coverage or anything like that. It's a completely different roster, of course, but they're going to be the Eagles' discipline on defense is going to be tested big time. And they got to be prepared, man. They have to be prepared.
They did a lot of QB power stuff too, a lot of designed runs for Daniel Jones. Just snap it to him and he's taken off around the edge. So the Eagles are going to have to be ready for that as well. And I mean, Daniel Jones is a big guy. He's not easy for like a cornerback to bring down. So it's going to be a game that tests your cornerback's ability to go, come downhill and hit a running back, hit Saquon, hit Daniel Jones. It's going to be and that's why I think you put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there and hit people. He's not the best tackler, but he's not afraid to go take on contact. I would like to have him in there fitting the run out of the slot. And
with their likelihood of hitting those quick hitch routes, quick slants, like get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in those plays, man. Let him anticipate those routes. Absolutely. I'm
impressed that coach actually looked like Brian Dable. That's the first coach in Madden that I've actually seen that looks like the person they're supposed to be.
I was just thinking the same thing.
This is the first time I've seen Madden since 2014.
All right, let's get into score.
I actually have one question, though.
Yeah.
I mean, with the 10 yards back of the cornerbacks, like they play 10 yards back, does that bother you guys or not really? Because to me and some other people in the Hardcore Sports Network, it bothers the hell out of them. Like, why they're so far back, it bothers the hell out of them.
I think the NFL has proved that, like, it's such a momentum league. I mean, how many big leads have we seen just completely annihilated? Wait, what'd I miss?
Ryan's freaking out about a 90-yard punt.
I'm sorry. I will forever not be able to handle that. Every time. They
just punted it from the 20 and it went out of the back of the end zone. That dude's got a leg.
I wasn't even paying attention.
Oh, dude, it's every time we do the sim. It's like back and forth 90-yard punts. It's
That's terrific.
Did he make an extra point unlike the Dallas guy?
We probably could have.
Yeah.
But the 10 yards back, like, I know a lot of people bother.
I think people blow that out of proportion too much.
I think my take is if the Eagles are up like 24-0, like they did in their first matchup, and they kind of, play a little bit off the line, I'm okay. I like to an extent.
Okay. All right, because everyone I talk to is like, we gotta blitz, and I'm like,
no, that's not
to a point. I'm like,
that's not the recipe for success for this Eagles defense. And that, to be fair, like the Eagles have had a fair amount of success rushing with 4-man front. So yeah, I'm not concerned with that whatsoever. All right, let's get into score predictions and player of the game predictions. Lead us off, Shane. What's your gut vibe? On Tuesday, we got what, 4 or 5 days until game day?
Yeah, so, man, I look at this game. There is no position group that the Giants have an advantage at besides running back. The Eagles have a better defensive coaching staff. I would call the offensive coaching staff a wash. Like, the Eagles are clearly the better football team.
Yes.
And yet, we're coming off of Wild Card Weekend where the Bills were clearly a better football team than the Dolphins, a division rival who was starting a third-string quarterback, and they took them to the brink. The 49ers were clearly a better team than the Seahawks, and they trailed at halftime. The Bengals were clearly a better team than the Ravens, starting their backup quarterback, and they needed a 98-yard scoop and score fumble off a failed QB sneak to win that game. There are no easy games in January, and there's certainly no easy division opponent matchups in January. The health concerns for Philly obviously play a large role in this. I think the Eagles win this game. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think this is going to be a game that you sweat out for the majority of the game. I think every time Jalen Hurts takes a hit, we're going to cringe inside and wonder if he's getting up. It's going to be a stressful game. I think the Eagles win. If I told you in September that what stood between you and the NFC Championship game was Daniel Jones, you would take that in a heartbeat. But here we are, and I do think it's going to be a tough game. But I'll say the Eagles come out on top. Let's go 27-21. I'll go 27-21 Eagles.
Who's your player of the game?
Shoot, I forgot about that part. Player of the game, I will go – I'm going to go – it's got to be Boston Scott, right? We're going Boston Scott. 2 touchdowns for Boston Scott.
Oh, my God. All right, let's do that. Since this is the playoffs, let's do player of the game on offense and defense predictions. So Boston Scott, and no one else can pick who you pick. So, all right.
Dang.
I was also just trying not to take the layup of Jalen Hurts. So I'll go Boston Scott's going to get a pair of touchdowns. On defense, I'll say player of the game is Hassan Reddick. I'll take the layup on defense. Hassan Reddick.
That's awesome. All right, Mitch, you're up, man.
All right. It's going to be a hard-fought game. I'm telling you right now. On my show, MK Headlines, we were going back and forth that we should take them lightly or not. And people were like, no, we can't. And especially with this whole Daniel Jones thing, we really got to use our blitzes wisely. We really got to – Jonathan Gannon's got to coach his best game. He does. Keeping it frank. So for me, I got the Eagles winning. I think it's going to be I'm going 27-24. I think it's going to be around that range. And for my players of the games, I'm going A.J. Brown.
Nice.
And for defense, you know what? I'm going to Garner Johnson.
I love it.
Garner Johnson there.
That's a good call. Quentin, little Debbie Downer tonight, saying the Giants.
Oh, come on, Quentin.
Or play calling will cost us.
Are you hacked? Did someone hack your account?
And his player of the game is Danny Dimes, and Rudy Boo's already attacking him. The Giants are not beating us. I don't think it's crazy at all, man. Anyway, Ryan Reese, predictions.
Well, I had predicted my score to include the Eagles scoring 27, but apparently everybody else thought the same damn thing. So I'm going to change that and say I'm going to say 31-26.
Okay.
I don't know how to get there, but strange things happen.
It's interesting that you didn't just add a field goal to your score, but
you would think. Actually, I did. I originally was going 27-23, so I just quite literally just added a field goal to the Giants. They're apparently going to kick 5 field goals, but
better than a Dallas kicker.
missing some extra points, but since no one and I don't ever want to give Dibes the advantage here, So I will absolutely take the layup with Jalen Hurts, only because he fell to me.
Well, Dives
I'm
is going to
gonna
pick the
say-
entire offense. So.
Yeah, exactly. He'll do something.
He's
It'll be
picking
like
Lane Johnson.
it'll be like the home crowd fans. But defensive MVP, I'm gonna say T.J. Edwards.
Ooh,
I
I
think
like
he's
that.
lead the team in tackles. He's going to get himself a sack, and he's going to have himself a turnover of some sorts in this game. So Hurts and Edwards for the MVPs, and 31-26 for my score. Eagles, of course.
I don't blame you one bit, Ryan. I would have taken the Jalen Hurts layup. That's my vibe. My vibe this game, I think it's going to be close. I'm thinking like literally 24-23. Eagles get a W, and it's going to be a fourth quarter scramble, a fourth quarter touchdown run, where Jalen Hurts just puts the team on his back like we've seen in the past and secures a W for the Philadelphia Eagles. Player of the game on offense for the Birds.
Damn.
I will go Dallas Goedert. I don't think the Giants have anybody to match up with that guy, and they haven't seen him yet. So I do think he has a big game in this one. Gets a touchdown, maybe like 90 yards, like 5-6 catches, something along those lines. And on defense, I liked your choices already. I'm going to go with the pass rush because if the Eagles win, it's going to be because of their pass rush. And I'm going to go Brandon Graham for my player of the game. The aging like fine wine, like fine Shane.
If the game comes down to the end like this, I'm going to be stressed out so much.
Oh, my God. Oh, did he catch that?
Out of the back of the end zone.
Incomplete.
Wait, who caught it? Was that Galladay?
This
Or
reminds this is giving me vibes of like the Falcons playoff.
The Falcons
game
game,
in
with
2017.
Julio Jones.
Hey,
Down at the
can
end
we
of the
just
game.
admit we're not going to blow a 33-0 lead or 27-0
You're not even supposed to put things like that out in the universe.
Yeah, I know.
My friend said that. My friend was like,
Oh, it was
"Mitch,
short.
we're gonna do this." I'm like, "You're a
They called him
Cowboys fan.
short
Shut
of the
up."
goal line.
Was he short?
And they're
No,
not
his,
calling a timeout.
his shins were in the end
And
zone.
they're not calling it. There it is. There's the timeout.
Like,
Oh, boy.
okay, that would be terrible clock management. If you're the
Horrible
Eagles,
clock
you should have
management.
called your timeout. Like, keep as much time as possible, but 11 seconds left.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I gotta watch this.
It's got to be a QB sneak, right? The irony if the Eagles lose
Right.
in the playoffs to a QB
Oh
sneak.
my
So,
God!
have you heard that teams have actually been complaining about that? That that it's an unfair advantage, yada yada yada. But apparently they've been obviously going by the rule book, so it's not like it's illegal.
But they've got to do something about that. Though. Like there was one in the Vikings-Giants game where like the guys like stood up and they don't blow the whistle, and then like an offensive player comes. It wasn't a QB sneak, but the offensive player came and pushed the pile forward. And I tweeted about it as like the NFL's got to do something about that. Like forward progress is stopped because if a defensive player comes flying into that pile and spears that guy, he's getting ejected from the game.
Sure.
But an offensive player can come up. I don't know. They got to do something about that this offseason. Not the QB sneak, that's fine, but just the whole scrums at the end of plays, that's got to stop.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Well, this would be the perfect time for a Boston Scott kickoff return for a touchdown, right? 10
All right.
seconds left.
Where's Brian Westbrook? Bring him back.
Right. Deshaun Jackson, Westbrook.
I'm just gonna put my disclaimer out here that I have the right to revoke if Boston Scott runs this back for a touchdown. That Madden's a garbage game and it's unrealistic. So this means the Eagles will win. I'm gonna we'll edit that out later if we run this back.
Right, naturally.
Or kneel it.
Or kneel it.
Who
Whatever.
is that?
Yeah.
Was that Covey?
Probably.
Okay, hook it.
It seemed like it.
I have never seen the hook and ladder play in Madden, so this is just going to be a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I don't think that play exists, sadly. Well, you
Play
got
shit
all your
hard
timeouts. But yeah, no, just sit back in the pocket. Why not? Flag. Defensive pass interference?
Yes, let's go.
Yeah!
Let's go.
Oh my God!
Can you
you kidding me?
imagine?
Oh my god.
Come on, AJ Brown!
Oh no, that's too high.
That's way over that game.
Oh,
Ah,
did they just call a Hail Mary from the 21-yard
They
line?
kind of did, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of
That's
did.
your play, a Hail Mary when you're 21 yards away.
Oh man.
Watch
Well,
that the Eagles fans are going to want Jonathan Gannon out.
We've been doing this Madden Sim all season.
How do you
And
guys do this? That's
They
my
have
question. How
been
does this work?
wrong multiple times. So
How do you do this Madden sim? That's just my question.
you
I
just
have
computer sim, put the footage.
yeah, I screen record the game, and
Yeah.
then
Oh, okay.
I can
So-
say this as simply as possible because I don't actually do it. So I can be like, yeah, you just computer sim it and cut
Yeah.
the film and and put it up there.
yeah.
So
I
what, you
just-
just go on YouTube and just like for the actual game?
Well, I let the computer play itself, and I screen record it with my capture card, and then share my screen when we're on.
Gotcha.
I tried to do
okay.
it live the first week, and it was a disaster. Like, it was super laggy, so I started pre-recording them since then.
We figured it out.
Cool.
The birds of the round table always
That's
adjust.
actually kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
We're thinking,
Mark says, I just got here and I'm stressed. Quentin said,
yeah. I just want to say that I'm more stressed about this game now after watching the Madden Sims than I was before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
all right, let's throw it around. Plugs, final thoughts, get out of here. Mitch, you're first up, man. What do you got going on over there at Hardcore Sports Network?
So, Hardcore Sports Network, we're actually streaming the Sixers and the Clippers, and it's not me, thank God. I don't have to put myself through that stress. But yeah, you can find me on Hardcore Sports Network, Mitch Toxie on YouTube and Twitter.
Love it, love it, love it. Go check them out, guys. Ryan Reese.
Yeah. Philly Sports Alliance. Just keep doing our thing. Shows all week. Best place to check us out, obviously YouTube and Twitter, right there. But best place is Facebook. Not only do you get all of the Philly Sports Alliance shows, but you get all of the Painted Line shows coming through Facebook. So put on those automatic notifications. That way you are up to date the second we go live with any show, whether it be Philly Sports Alliance or TPL. But yeah, check us out, join up, follow, do it all. And of course, follow everybody here.
Love it. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. I'm on YouTube at ShaneHalfNFL. It's been a little quieter because there hasn't been an Eagles game to break down, but I'll have all 22 stuff up after the playoff game. Mark and I will be going live with Chalk Talk in about 30 minutes, reacting to all the wild card weekend stuff, previewing all the divisional round games. So if you want to know what's going on in the rest of the NFL, you can come check that out. And then, of course, I'll be on the EPA podcast and the BGN radio feed tomorrow. I'm also going to be on the Philly Sports table podcast tomorrow. I was actually on a Jets podcast over the weekend, Jets X Factor podcast. They had me on to talk about Brian Johnson because the Jets have requested an interview with the Eagles QB coach. So went on there and talked a lot about the Eagles scheme and what they do. So if you're just really in love with the sound of my voice, and hell, I don't know why you would be, but you can go listen to that one, and I talk a lot about the Eagles scheme there. So but yeah, I'm around. I'll get back active on Twitter. Haven't had a lot to talk about the last week and a half.
Love it, love it, love it. Quinn says, are we doing a Sixers post game tonight? Absolutely not. We'll be going to bed, Quinn. I'm old. I'm tired. Do they only do Sixers on Twitter? What do you mean? I don't know what that means. Let me know what that means.
I don't understand that either.
Tired? You mean you're not going to come in the chat and make dad jokes during Chalk Talk?
I always do that. I always do that. But yeah, final thoughts. Go Birds, man. This is just the most hyped game in a long time, man. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. Saturday night versus the Giants is going to be a really fun time. We've got guys on site for pregame, halftime, postgame. They're at a bar down towards Philadelphia, so they will be live breaking it all down. I'm sure I'll do something on Sunday or Saturday. I don't know what it is. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I will not be there. I'll be hanging out with my daughter. If you love draft content, I have been heavily focused on the NFL draft.
Yes.
My man Ryan and we did a full first round mock last night or yesterday afternoon, whatever you want to call it. Got a really good response on that. And Ryan is still getting hate for his Jets pick.
My Jets pick, like whatever, man. Like, when you steal somebody's pick, right from under that, you scramble and listen. Yeah, all right. I could have made somebody better. I picked him a corner.
Oh,
who cares? I'm not a big fan of DJ Reed. Like, whatever.
What's the matchup? That's perfect.
They're Jets fans. What do they know?
I know. I'm friends with Jets fans. So that's on YouTube. Believe me, I know.
Seriously. But, apparently I'm just getting murdered about this pick, but whatever. It's all good.
Wow.
I couldn't care less. I am so pumped for this Saturday. I'm going to be down there as early as they will let me, tailgating and just having a great time, and we'll be in the ruckus in Lincoln Financial Field when the game goes. I can't wait. It feels like forever since the last home playoff game we've had. What was it? 18? Is it 18?
Huh?
Yeah, I think 18. The last time we had a home playoff game, right? So we weren't home last year.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. I'm just so excited to be down there.
One last thought on the game that we didn't mention. The Eagles are playing the Giants. Obviously, they've had their bye week, but the Giants are going to be on a short week. So play Sunday, right? They've got to turn around and play on a short week Saturday. And then if the Eagles win, assuming they win, we all picked them to win. If they go to the NFC title game, not only would it be in Philadelphia, you get the home field advantage, but you're going to have an extra day rest. You're going to have a rest advantage over whoever comes out of the other side of the bracket there, because the 49ers and the Cowboys play on Sunday. So it's not like they're on a short week. They still have the normal Sunday to Sunday. Right. But the Eagles would have a rest advantage again. So those little edges, they can add up and matter a lot in the playoffs. Oh,
absolutely. The beauty of having the number one spot. And yeah, absolutely. Come on down. It's just a short 12-hour drive. Hit me up. The first 5 beers are on me.
There it is. Party on Broad is moving to Thursdays. So we're going from Monday nights to Thursday nights because of scheduling things. So this Thursday, it'll be an Eagles-Sixers NFL draft kind of show. So that will be going down at 7 p.m. And, yeah, that basically is it. Again, follow my man Shane over there on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. He is Ryan Reese, the Ryan Reese, at Philly Sports PSA. And down there, the Mitchkovsky at Mitchkovsky. Go check out Hardcore Sports Network.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone, for commenting. Let us know down in the comments below what your score predictions are, expectations for Eagles and the Giants. It's going to be a hell of a ride these next few weeks if all things kind of go in a row as we think they will. For Shane, for Mitch, for Ryan, thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.